Howdy, everybody. Hope you all having a good beginning of the weekend. Of course, hello to everyone, ranging from Mr. Awesome, who really was first, to Arnon, to Chobi, Joe, Mirle. I'm not sure how to read that. I'm probably gonna butcher it. I apologize in advance, but Mirle. Maring, I probably butchered. I'm so sorry. Danny Chobi Arnon again. Jacqueline, that is an awesome name, madam. Leon, Alex, Mr. Awesome again. Yeah, hello. Thank you for recognition. Thank you for being first, I guess. No, I mean, first of all, thank you everyone for showing up. It doesn't matter first, second, third, doesn't matter. None of it is important as long as you all show up and enjoy. And that's what's important. Hello, mama. Hello. Bonjour from Quebec. Oh, Quebec. That is Canada. I love Canada. Pascal, hello. Hello, Pascal. I'm a big fan of Canada. Long story. Join us on Discord, I'll tell you. I'm a big fan of Canada. And yeah, ignore me saying Canada. Just that's how I call Canada. It's a thing I do. So, let's not waste any time. I'm just gonna maybe wait one more second. Murat, hello. How you doing, brother? Привет, братан. Привет, дорогой, как дела? Hello from the Netherlands. Alrighty. Looks like we're from all over the place. Bart van der Graaf. Yeah, the van der doesn't surprise me. I used to hang out with a lot of Dutch people. So that is a very common Vander I know. So actually used to hang out a lot with. I know a couple of unpleasant words on Dutch, and I also know how to say. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna get like in trouble for saying that, but yeah, I know you guys say "godverdomme" a lot, and I know rechts, links, both, under. I know a couple of words. I used to play Call of Duty when I back in the day with a bunch of people from Netherlands. Awesome people. Shout out to all my Netherlands friends. I just hope I'm not gonna get in trouble for that one. Big ups for New Jersey. All right, we really are from all over the place. Uh huh. Uh, Good Verdun. Oh, well, okay, yeah. I mean, you write it differently, but I know you say it with an like a ch, with a yeah. I know other words that I shouldn't be saying, so I'm gonna stop there. Smash the like, yeah. Before we get started, everyone, smash the like, ring the bell, all that beautiful stuff. Otherwise, you'll not be informed that I'm going live. That will be another good thing to do for the support of the channel. Tremendously appreciate it if you do. Actually, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you like, doesn't matter. All right, so let's get into this. I think we waited long enough. Let's stop wasting any time. So today, quite an exciting day for the Bulls, at least depending on how you look at it, right? Wink, wink. Um, which we will talk about Tesla. We will talk about. We'll go over the regular culprits. Obviously, opened up. Very, very with a nice burst. I would say quite bullish momentum as we opened up, and rapid downwards momentum. And I mean, you can see, I don't have to say, it is very impressive though. I have to say, the traders today, those who have Olimiu, good to see you. Good to see you, everybody. Good to see you. So today was quite an exciting day for the traders. I would argue, doesn't matter, small caps, large caps, would have been probably a good day for the traders. But otherwise, it's a mixed, very confusing day, right, for the overall market. Nothing all that surprising in the sense of, yeah, we saw a little bit more bullish momentum in some assets because it comes through the indices. The indices today were a little bit more bullish, more bullish than bearish. That is quite obvious. Regardless, we saw this outcome. We will maybe again talk about sort of hypothesize why some of the things happened, but at the end of the day, we're here to look at the technicals and kind of base upon that. As you see, that 5809 was a good prediction of mine. It seems like so far it played its role rather perfectly. I apologize that I have this line offset. I'm assuming that is my attempt to put it at 5,800, and I kind of screwed up, so let's put it in place. All right, so that's supposed to be the 5,800 psychological, which we probably have seen the market slide towards, then fail, get get rejected, or rather see the support of this temporary shorter term range channel shoot back up to that higher range. But it's quite obvious that on the 1 minute here we're moving to the downside. We've been doing that most of the day, right? Rather clear post that opening rally, which is quite interesting considering the fact of the matter that there's not a lot of this is on a very low volume, so those who know understand what it means. It means the market is very easy to move. And this is a bit suspicious. It's very suspicious, but we did say the other week how we probably see that happening, how we see that 5,800, which, by the way, congrats to Tom Lee. His original prediction was around 5,800. So I gotta say, and I gotta give it to him, he ended up being more correct on this than I have. My original prediction was that we will fail at around 5,400-ish. So we're actually about $400 above my original expectation. So I mean, pretty impressive. I gotta admit that one. And especially if we're gonna retrace from here, or depends how things will play out. Murat, 1 second, don't bombard the chat, let me go through the things. You know, it just will prolong everything and make me lose focus. We both know what's gonna happen, Murat. Stop it. Give me a second. No, I'm just kidding. You do you. But I'm gonna try and tend to... Yeah, I see Tesla. We will. Did you guys discuss Tesla? No. We will. We haven't even started yet. I'm just about to get started. I kind of, given more time for people to join so we can really dive into the meat and potatoes, right? Hello, hi Judy, hi, hope you're having a good day. All right, boys and girls, let's get started. 1 minute is not all that interesting, as we say pretty much on the daily basis. Right now it's pointing to the downside, since we still have quite a decent amount of time since the end of the session. So I would argue that this can vary, this can change. So, but at least again, so the natural direction, I mean this, what we've been seeing throughout the day, this can still correct and actually change direction and be more bullish, right? So we can see that is a normal scenario, regardless of what we saw right there on the 1 minute. The 5 minute chart is actually supporting that notion, the idea that potentially, because we still have a decent chunk of time and we see that we're already in overbought territory and we know what happens, we get an amplified effect, giving the fact of the matter that, let's give it let's say 4 candlesticks, right? 4 candlesticks of 5 minutes. You already have your 25. We have your 20 minutes. Give it another 5. You have your 25. Give it 5 more. You have 30 minutes, right? You have a half an hour. In 30 minutes, I can easily see how we end up testing. Those who are more hawk-eyed and sharp noticed this, that the market is currently testing the median of the larger channel, right? There are 2 channels on the screen right now. There's the shorter term. Notice it has its own separate median, and the larger one has its own median, right? So right now, those who are more attentive probably noticed that we are testing this, right? You can kind of see how the market is testing it. Of course, we will have some discrepancy, right? A certain amount of slippage, if you will. That's actually normal behavior, right? Just to, and those who are new and maybe not familiar, haven't been around or listened to me speak about these things before, know that this is normal. Slippage is a normal phenomena. And people often say, well, if it closes above this number or if we open above this. No. The market can have these moments where it slips outside the lines. Usually those who are attentive and understand how these methods and systems work will notice that all of them are being tested as we go. It doesn't mean that anything here is basically made out of concrete and cannot be broken. And in fact, even concrete can be broken. So just if you look at it as concrete, imagine this is a missile at times, right? Depends on how you work with it. So that's why we're trying to determine, based upon the structure that we're having here, right? Based upon the trends, based upon our current supports and resistances, and the momentum that we have. So we can easily see, based upon that 5 minutes, that we will be retesting that median again, since we're being right above it, and it looks like we're basically doing this wedge formation. Oh my God, cannot draw a straight line to save my own life. So you see, we're currently moving within this wedge. That's what it seems to be. The question is, how soon are we going to break out? Is it going to be up? Is it going to be down? Let's determine that as we go. Right now, it might be upwards, right? Because we're having this bullish momentum. It's at face value bullish. In fact, even if we're going to have here entanglements, right, where we have the forces cross over each other, that means, again, they turn around. But if you look at the amount of time that we just said we can predict based upon the amount of candlesticks we can predict from this, we can forecast about 30 minutes, right? If we're not being too generous and not too shy, right? So we can say that in that 30 minutes, easily that movement can result in the movement beyond the current resistance that we're at, if we're close enough to it. And I would argue that we very are close to it. In fact, I would argue that we're probably still, that partition of that movement haven't been completed yet. The way the market perceives this is not yet complete, so the market is still moving to the upside this way. All right, let me just clean it up a little bit so we can continue. I hope that was clear. So far we're generally moving on an upside trajectory, although we are testing certain supports and resistances. So on the temporary short time frame, it seems as if we're going down. It doesn't mean anything. Remember, we're not biased here. Those who say, well, Greg, you have an SQQQ position, shouldn't you be biased towards the down? No, we're objective here. We're just about what we see. Again, my SQQQ has nothing to do with this. My SQQQ position has to do with a big swing. Okay, it's something I'm prepared to hold for months if I need to. Okay, that's a normal thing. I was prepared to in advance. I mean, I wasn't planning for it to be that long, but still, that's the process. The ROI, if I'm right, will be worth it. So, at face value, 30 minutes, that's basically those other 6 candlesticks that we spoke about on the 5 minutes. We're saying right here, it will be represented by a singular candlestick, right? So it's going to be a singular movement. The amount of time we have doesn't change, of course. So all in all, I would argue that this is bearish at face value, but we understand what's going on here, right? We're not, blind, right? So we're having convergence here, and probably more likely that this is a partition of a overarching larger upwards movement, so impulse, if you will. So not all that surprising. If we're going to cross over and turn back around, which that is in essence what's going to happen when we have the bullish momentum cross over, this is going to turn around and start moving to the upside, right? It represents that movement, and as we move basically in a particular direction, we accelerate. So and we accelerate in that direction, giving us overbought territory. So that's why we're saying potentially we might see the levels that we were testing today as we were moving to the upside, basically retesting this 5809 as we're doing this very second. Actually, you can see right now, right, we're actually testing it as we are going, but there's also the smaller trend that we just emphasized that bringing us to the downside. So it's not going to be all that surprising if we're going to sort of retest it again before breaking back down. That's kind of again, we're looking at the larger picture, smaller picture, and we need to understand what it is that or smaller and larger, and what it is that the smaller picture is showing us in the context of the larger picture, right? It has to come, it goes hand in hand. Now, I hope I'm not running too fast for you guys, and I'm not being too, complicated in terms of understanding me, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to explain here. I am trying to keep it, keeping it as simple as possible. But I mean, if you think about it, it's basically smaller trends in larger trends. We do care about the larger trends, of course, a lot more. Smaller ones represent what we're going to be doing in the shorter term, rather than what the bigger picture is, right? So it's if we're seeing something on the larger time frames, it doesn't mean we're going to see that sort of happen and come through that very same second. If anything, it's far more likely that we're going to look at the smaller time frame. What we're seeing there is going to come through and visible to us in actuality on the price action far sooner, right? Basically this very moment as we're rolling with the market, right? Almost like traffic when you drive, right? So it's almost like you know your destination. You know if the GPS tells you if there's any issues on the road forward, but you're far more focused on the road ahead of you as you go. That's just what it should be, right? Makes sense. So again, if we're looking at this, it is a larger trend, right? The further out we move, the more we zoom out, the more objective we are about what really the trend is. And you can see it again. You can see I'm not making any empty assumptions, right? You can see we've been following the trend, generally speaking, quite well, right? We've been testing both ends as we were going upside, and this is what I'm trying to tell you all along. Notice these same phenomena that happen on smaller time frames, they're of course applicable to larger time frames. So this is just for you to get the idea of the internal processes of how the market actually gets to where it is, where it does, if you will. Again, people end up, and the sad thing is that people that are not traders end up being too hyper focused on the either minutia, the day-to-day movement, rather than understanding. Wait, there's a larger sort of narrative here, right? There's a bigger picture here that I'm missing out on. And again, you'll say, well, Greg, this, right? It's normal. That is a normal behavior. In fact, you can see sometimes the price action can literally slip out of the trend, or when it's moving inside the newer trend, and basically ride the ceiling, if you will. Imagine there's a ceiling, right? That resistance of the trend, the channel, can actually be used by the price action, by the market, as if it's a floor of sorts. Again, remember, this is just visual form, right? That means we're still retaining that buying momentum, meaning the story, the narrative, the sentiment we're having allows us to retain that price action. This is not just drawing. This is not a bouncy ball. Remember that, right? These drawings, this visualized form represents our emotions, our behaviors, what we actually execute and do in the market. And you can see that particular trends can be retained for far longer than you realize. And we can actually basically move in between channels, in between trends. And the process is far larger than most people are able to perceive it, right? And this is the idea of why on purpose we're moving in and out, we're zooming in and out, so we can see the larger, the bigger picture, so you can get the idea and not get too preoccupied, I guess, by the current price action and thinking, oh, it's going to go up forever. Remember how you were thinking about it back then, when the end of the world was coming, when everybody were stuck at home, and I was not able to convince anyone that the price action will will basically flip around, and we're gonna have a very strong bullish momentum, very strong bullish wave, if you will. It wasn't just a short-term impulse. It was an actual big wave, and in fact, it surprised even myself. As I've mentioned, we hit 5,800, and that exceeded my expectation by $400 and then some. In fact, I think I could be wrong. I need to look back. I could be my ceiling might have been like 53 something, right? But I definitely know it wasn't nowhere near where we're at. Maybe it was 56. I think 56 was definitely the highest I've given it. So in fact, I said, in my opinion, 5,800 is basically impossible. I've mentioned that we have certain resistances there. Sure, it's not that much of a trick when you know how to do proper analysis, how to apply the tools properly to the charts. But still, it was extremely unlikely. In fact, if I've given it any chances of happening, I've probably given it like 10 or 20%. It goes to show that Greg can be wrong as well, right? All of us can be wrong at times. Just being objective about things. So let's continue. Let's bring back our stochastic RSI and see what it shows us. So 45 minutes. 45 minutes, remember the 45 minutes is a time frame that we use as an indicator within itself to get a more of an accurate idea, because sometimes the 30 minutes and the 1 hour contradict each other so badly that the 45 minutes allows us to have some form of confirmation. Okay, so it really does help that you can see this 45 minutes, but should you rely on it to actually see the trend, remember, it's a bit problematic. there's a reason why we go to the same time frames that the vast majority of the market uses, or to see particular things, right? You don't want to see exceptions. When you see something that is exceptional, something that is, I wouldn't say out of the ordinary in that sense that the action itself is normal. It's just that the reading that you will get from the tool, because of how, I wouldn't want to use abnormal, but sometimes abnormal of a structure you're going to get on the 45 minutes, because no one cares for the structure there. So thus we're not too attentive. Thus we don't operate based upon what we see on the 45 minutes, if you think about it. But still, for me at least, again, I do use it as an indicative tool to read 1 hour or 30 minutes better, or rather what it is that actually is going on, right? Because 30 minutes is too small. 1 hour is good enough. We do start to work actually with 1 hour. Those are the people who don't want to necessarily be a scalper or a day trader in particular. Take these short-term swings that maybe can last between a week to a couple of weeks. This is a very good time frame to start recognizing these processes, because it's very granular, but still you can see the bigger picture, right? You can sort of recognize the wave. For example, just as a good example would be that you can see that this entire impulse does not change the direction. For example, people saw how well it breaks, but if you're attentive, it's almost as if you can actually see how there was a structure beginning to be built here, and that impulse was out of the ordinary, maybe because of news, earnings, something, reports, and then the market kept on going on the same directional trend, right? So that is actually an abnormality, but normal, which I'm trying to show. For example, if you have a particular trend in this instance, which is quite visible, by the way, an internal trend, we speak about this pretty much on the daily basis. Notice how we switch over from riding the ceiling to making it the floor, but sorry. Here it was the floor, and here we make it into our ceiling. We still ride the same trend. The fact of the matter that this was our median, just that in this instance it's a little bit more obvious. The trend is retained, although we had that drastic change of direction, right? Now that I've, marked all that, notice what was happening in between. Notice that drastic change. Basically, the way we perceived it was this way, right? It wasn't just notice this abnormality, this entire movement. Did it change the direction of the trend? No. You see what I mean, right? So know how to almost ignore abnormalities and follow the actual trend. This is part of the reasoning to why we switch between these time frames, that we can follow really what the trend is doing, right? That's quite important. I'm sorry, I'm running with this stuff. I'm not rushing anywhere. I'm just on a good schwung. That's how we say it on Hebrew. I'm on a good, what you call it, like I'm rolling with it well, if you will. So 45 minutes on the indicator on the stochastic. We both know, again, you see, that's the beauty of it. This is exactly what I was talking. You see, 30 minutes here is confusing, right? So to get a better, clearer indication, if I would see that this is deeper and pointing downwards rather than pointing sideways the way it is, we can clearly see that this is, and being stopped by the 80%. So it's far more likely that this is still a part of that upside movement, giving us far more likelihood of seeing more bullish outcome before the market closes. You see, again, that's kind of reading the prior to the current one, right? They're helping us read one another, if you will. So we can see the 45 minutes is as bullish as the 30 minutes. Objectively, although at face value being bearish. Remember, we're not here to be biased. We don't like that. The whole idea is to be able to read what the market is truly doing, right? Which is this thing. So let's be objective about this. It's more bullish than bearish. So again, it's not about my position. It's about what the market is doing. Those of you who like to ask, is it a painful day for the SQQQ? No, it's not. I don't care about this. It doesn't matter. The same way the minutia doesn't matter for the buyers who are not traders. To say, oh, look, Palantir hit 44. Did you sell? Did you do something with it? How does that matter? You might as well pretend you were asleep the whole day or in a coma, and that never happened. Why? Because if you didn't sell, that means that's meaningless. And if we're going to trace back from here on out downwards, what did you do? You just missed out on opportunity. That's all it is. But should you execute? If you don't know what you're doing and you have no abilities of reading the market, nor, I would even argue if you don't have the basics at hand, why? It's like, yeah, you have a race car, but should you be driving it? Really? Probably not, if you don't know what you're doing, right? So let's be objective about this. 1 hour is the same thing. There's not really much of a change here. It is far more bullish than bearish, right? Objectively, it's still moving to the upside. Yes, it could get stuck here. We want to see what's going to happen, because it could be a smaller part of this sort of transition to the downside, which I'm suspicious of, because how low our lows and how high are our highs. So hard to say. I mean, are we seeing the transition already on the hourly? I wouldn't argue for that, you know. And by the way, the same applies for the 4 hourly. Normally, you wouldn't see a lot of analysts use the 4 hourly. I use it as a good tool to bridge between the 1 hour and the daily, right? It's just something that I use to have a clear indication, understand to have better confirmation of what truly is going on. Because what it does, it shows me the daily, but in a slightly more granular form. You understand what's going on? It's always going to be the next time frame, but in slightly more of a granular form. It's that 4-to-6 ratio. Those who know, we have. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the point being, this is rather obvious. If we're zoom out at this point, we can kind of see how objective this is, and we are really testing the median resistance right now, which is not all that surprising, right? I'm pretty sure we spoke about this, how if we will reach back inherently, because the trend moves to the upside, it's an ascending trend, we will end up hugging it as we go, right? But remember, this is so the question here, the interesting part here is, are we really moving? Is this really a movement to the upside that can bring us as high as, you know, 6,000 and a bit? Yes, it could be. This is not a discrepancy to the structure. I actually spoke about this with my students the other day. Those who don't know, I teach technical analysis one-on-one. I actually have still one spot available. Hurry up, because it's going to be taken out, and then everybody's going to be asking, oh, where the spots went. Well, they were taken, because I opened up 2 and 1 was taken immediately. So, and it could be. But the thing is, if you really are looking at the larger overarching momentum structure, which doesn't mean much, sounds like a bunch of gibberish to most of you, but there is a structure, which is very, very important, by the way. There is... It's almost like the difference between a legal or an illegal strike, right? In boxing or whatever. The difference could be very, very minor. And it's up for the sort of for us to judge whether can this be the PLTR downfall. Yes, it can. Okay, we're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at Palantir individually and see whether. Look, the way I predicted it originally. Hello, Best. Hello, Ken. By the way. Okay. Best Forex market. Yeah. Here, somebody here is into foreign exchange. Slime, hello. Hi, guys. Don't spam. Give me a sec. Otherwise, it will take me forever, as we said. Just remember that my original prediction stems upon the overall market breaking down and everything else rolling with it. And this is something I said. If you go back to my original videos about Palantir, I originally said that prediction predicated upon the overall correction in the market. Why? Because individually, if you're looking at Palantir, if you're looking at Affirm, if you're looking at Tesla, if you're looking at a lot of stocks we looked at, individually, they actually look very good. But once you start zooming out and you apply the same indicators, and if they're highly correlated and related to the market, right, coupled in, if you will, you're gonna end up seeing the same structure. It's as if you have a pen and you're gonna tie it to if you have a pen, right, and you tie a pole to it and tie several pens to it, right, are you gonna be surprised that when you're gonna draw with your pen, the other ones are gonna be drawing the same drawing? You know what I mean? So if our indices are drawing X, Y, or Z, the rest of them are going to be drawing the same sort of structure on the index or on their indicators. And inherently on the larger time frames, it's going to be inescapable. It's going to sort of come through. It's going to almost shine through. And that's why we oftentimes say, what's the point after analyzing the S&P, analyzing something else that is highly correlated to the indices, basically moves in tandem? when the indices will break, and if I'm right, and if they will, right, when they will, if they will, then whatever asset that is that you're holding, if it's not designed to float above the market, right, to sort of survive a tsunami, if it's not designed to survive a metaphorical tsunami in the market, it won't. It just won't. That's just how things work. I'm sorry to say. Only the things that are meant to survive will. So if we are objective about this, I mean, let's ask ourselves this question, right? Sorry. Let's ask ourselves this question. Just based upon what we're familiar with, right? And we can see, we know sometimes these processes, right, on the 4-hourly can be so long that we can maybe potentially extrapolate it. Yeah, can we make it that high? And remember, I'm giving it a quick trend here, right? We gain in droplets. We kind of make fun oftentimes how how the market sort of goes up very, very slowly and it drops very rapidly. If I say we gain in droplets and lose in buckets, or Tom says, we go up by the stairs and go down by the elevator, right? So, and it's absolutely true. So I'm being very generous here by saying that the trend will be going upwards that rapidly. It's far more likely to go upwards slower, right? That's just the natural procession of the market we're familiar with. And again, if we're relying on the momentum, and here we're already starting to see a problem, that would have been a normal assessment if we still would have been here, just kind of starting to move to the upside, giving us all that time, right, to go up, be in overbought territory, amplifying the effect. Even given the fact of the matter that we're halfway through, right? I just kind of, let me just give me a sec. I just want to clean it up so you can see better, right? So considering the fact of the matter that we're already halfway through, I would argue, right? Why halfway through? Because these two are equal, right? Okay. These two are derived from our median, okay? This is our... so you'll always have regardless of whether you see them matching at times. Imagine if the trend just started, right, and never really matched both sides. You're going to say, well, Greg, it doesn't match both sides. The thing is that this line is essentially reliant on standard deviation, and it's going to be standard on both ends of it. And that's why, if I can sort of say it this way, the market ends up at times just like what you saw here, for example, right? The market actually found and knew about the location of this channel far prior to the data that brought it about, if that makes any sense. If you think about it, this is the channel that brought the data about, but how can you explain then or rationalize that the market chose to respect it right here many days and weeks prior to it actually being a thing, right? So what was it, the 23rd of October? So yeah, that was a while back, right? So you see, think about it. This is like, think how far back the market respected. This was actually more than a year back. So that was 2023 on 26th of October. Around that time, we've respected that support, right? So it just goes to show how accurately technical analysis basically work at the end of the day. So whether you like me, my face, don't like my face, or whatever, it's not about my face, it's about the technicals. So here, by the way, I think I've kind of mentioned these situations where we can see the market move in this negative wedge structure, right? We get locked into this negative wedge, so we can kind of see it coming through in this price action, right? Let me just clean it up so you can see it better. I hope you guys are not surprised by these movements, because we speak about these sort of movements quite often, and notice that the slippage ends up testing a certain support that we've had from before. So it's not all that surprising, right? We're kind of getting movement and currently ranged to this negative wedge. That's that. All right. So I think we kind of covered the 4 hours, and let's move to the daily. This is very bullish, by the way. This is just, I mean, let's be objective. We can go all the way. We're at 93 right now. We can move all the way to 100, which really pushes the pedal to the metal. And still, that would be very excessive. I mean, that would be just phenomenal to see that happening. Even that, let alone that, right? The completion of seeing the shorter term. So this range. This is going to be very phenomenal. Can it happen? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Absolutely. Well, I mean, the reality is that there are other time frames that are still indicating that, and we said that the argument was that overall it's a downward structure, which we know it is. Look, there's no way to escape this unless the market is somehow able. It's not even about able or unable. This is just, these evaluations are already excessive. Those who know that there is a rhythm and a structure to the market, and understand that those who know advanced technical analysis knew that we will overshoot to some extent. But again, this is not normal. And remember, this sort of creates a big issue as well. When you think about the market, and we speak about this quite often, we say the market is a zero-sum game. You cannot expect to think in a way that, yeah, I should be buying now because the price is cheap, because there will be somebody else here who'd be willing to think that it still is cheap here and we have this much to go or whatever, right? Because that really doesn't give you all that confidence. Like, you need to be able to recognize the market correction a step prior to it doing so. We are at excessive highs no matter how we flip it. And this is not even going, I really want to rely here on the previous trend. A lot of people will not realize that we are significantly out of any bounds of any trends. And you're saying, well, Greg, we moved just up to a previous trend the same way. This is not normal. The market doesn't do this. You can look back into history and find out that whenever we do this, always it results with the market going back into the channel, especially on the larger time frames. It's inescapable, and more so doesn't go to what we would consider to the left, switches over to the right. In other words, even if we're going to come back to this trend and reside in it for years on out from here, decades even, it doesn't matter. It will happen within the confines of this channel, or maybe the channel next to it, on the right side, not on the left side. It's a little bit more of a convoluted principle, which I'm not going to go get into here. It's going to take me hours just there to explain, literally hours on end, but it doesn't happen. If you look back into history, right, look back, you have the ability to do so, you realize it doesn't happen. And when it does, it corrects. This is a broken circumstance, and we know why it's broken. We know because, well, the Fed broke the market in various different ways, which have to give at some point. Every stick can be bent up to a certain limitation. At some point, it either corrects or breaks. Okay? It's that's kind of something we need to keep in mind. So that's why we're seeing, we know, right? Remember that we know that I said we know that it's bearish. Yeah, we know it's bearish, literally. And by the way, we know that it's bearish because once we go to the monthly chart, it gets really scary as well. Because you're saying, well, Greg, that's such a big chart. Right, no problem. How about the fact of the matter that we've been able to squeeze out longer bullish momentum that we've been able to squeeze since, well, quite a while, really. And if you really measure this and you understand how these sort of methods work, you understand that this was was far less bullish, because when we have these impulses structure, it's ends up being far more bullish than this sort of structure. That's just the reality of the thing. So really, we haven't been that bullish since, well, we can kind of say 2012, 2014-ish area, right? That's when we had the first sort of corrective impulse out of the 13 years of shit that people were eating since the tech bubble, okay? Or the tech crisis, whatever you want to call it, because it's not really, everything's a bubble, blah, blah, blah. Bubble. Still. And yeah, so I know it sounds very problematic to those of you who are like me and holding SQQQ and are very afraid and expect the correction to happen tomorrow. I'm sorry that I'm not going to be one of your Captain Hindsight. You know, when the market will start dropping, they will like, oh, I was saying always it's going to drop. No. The trick is to be able to predict when the market is tremendously, supposedly bullish, or seems as if it's bullish, to recognize that there will be a deeper correction that will happen. By the way, on the monthly chart, those again who are attentive and notice that, why be biased like that? Why say these channels don't matter on the larger time frames when we say they work perfect on the smaller time frames, right? But why? Because it's convenient for your portfolio. Bias much? You know what I mean? So you look at it the way you want to. I'm just showing you what I see. And last time I seen this, well, I was right. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna wink, wink. I ended up being correct, and you can ask Tom. That's around the time when we sort of ended up conversing and all that. And he said I'm crazy. That doesn't make sense. It's gonna be not that bad, and this and that. And in fact, I was very, very, very skeptical myself because of the Russia-Ukraine war. Remember, Tom and I both were on the same side and saying, Russia-Ukraine war probably will not happen. Russia will back down because it did so like 10 or 11 times prior to. And I guess, Ukrainians got bored and stopped showing up at the border. And then Russia said, okay, I guess that's time. So yeah, that happened. And we got very abnormal conditions. Regardless of those who know, we're still getting the normal rhythm of things. And if we're getting the normal rhythm of things, that still means, and coincidentally, we're sitting at the top of the channel. Sure, we can drag it out, like we said. But how much longer? You see that limb? Is the structure will not be broken if we will retain upwards momentum with no deeper corrections. Can you really see that going on? Because I don't. The second the deeper correction happens, that's it. That's where the structure breaks. Once it breaks, done. I don't know if you guys can hear the parade of helicopters above my head, but parade of helicopters. Pretty cool. Anyway, so you get the idea here. You get my drift. So it's something that we've been overdue. In fact, I'm amazed how long this process was able to be dragged out. And we all can thank the Fed and the current administration for it. I guess Nancy Pelosi is having a blast. Sorry, I had a Nancy Pelosi cough. I'm sorry. I think I had a Nancy Pelosi virus in my throat. Nancy. Yeah, it's a weird phenomenon I have lately. I don't know what's going on. I'm having this weird virus called Nancy Pelosi. So there's that, all right? You get the big picture. There's no point in Russian cough. I don't know. It's more common. I mean, yeah, you can call it communist cough, I guess, if we really insist. Because it's definitely not democratic. I mean, YouTube already hates me. The algorithm hates me. We all know that, right? So how much worse can it get? My channel is still not monetized. They're not sending me how much worse can it get? Komikov, yeah, exactly. I guess I should be able to say whatever I want at least. Comrade Koff. I wanted to say Comrade Koff, Michael. That was exactly my thought. All right, so I think we kind of we're done with the time frames, and we get the idea of why I'm more bullish. Gmar Chatima Tova, Gmar Chatima Tova to all my Israeli/Jewish viewers. That is a thing we say at the end of the fast we were having. If you will, it's mostly a fast. It's it's not it's hard to call it a holiday. It's not a holiday per se. So there is a holiday after, but yeah. So I wish you all Gmar Chatima Tova. Thank you, Arnon, brother from another mother, and I wish you all the same. That is true. Okay, wait. Just don't rush it. Give me a second. We still need to cover Tesla and Palantir. You guys gonna go bananas now. Gmar Chatima Tova. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Прикольный, what? Bukvы. Murat, what are you? Come on, you ass. You know Hebrew. God damn it, making my life hard. Same father. Is he? Wink, wink. Gmar Chatima Tova. Walid. Oh, Walid. Oh, guys, those who don't know, Walid is obviously, I think, if I'm understanding correctly, Walid here is an Arab. I'm not sure which sort. We have Muslims and Christian as well. But yeah, thank you, brother. You see, we guys get along. A lot of people. Well, you tell them they don't believe me many times. They don't believe me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We have a really good group of people here. It's mostly the usuals. So Samuel Katroza, Gmar Chatima Tova. Samuel, thank you very much. You too, brother, from another mother as well. I see we're all a bunch of Jewish/Israelis here. Ori here is Shana Tova. Thank you, brother. Shana Tova, indeed. That's what we say for the Jewish New Year, which we just had. Thank you, Ori. I appreciate it. So yeah, you know what? Before we do tickers, let's go to our regular culprits because we definitely want to go over Palantir. Kay has asked, and we definitely want to go over Tesla. So, by the way, Nannies, shout out to Nannies, my legendary moderator here. Thank you for just really being amazing support and help. Christoph as well, by the way, shout out to you as well. Which is from other misters. That's true. That's actually true. We have here Mama. That's true. So yeah, Patreon, Discord, all that great stuff. Links in the description, in the chat. Obviously, you're more than welcome to join, although I'm suspecting we mostly have here our regulars. Ori Dekel, you shouldn't have, but thank you very much. That is the sign of our Israeli currency. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Much love. But Ori, all that and you didn't write a ticker? Come on, put down a ticker. And don't put down Tesla or Palantir because we're going to do them anyways. Hi. Hey, Daragoi. Hi. All right, so I guess let's tend to it. Let's get started with Palantir because that's interesting. I mean, we really want to look at Palantir. Palantir. I mean, we knew that until we make it to actual next strong resistance, which we just mentioned the other day, is $45. So only Palantir. Come on, Ori. Really? Only Palantir? Okay, you're going to get Palantir anyways. Palantir, we knew if we don't make it to that 45, which those of you who don't remember why we're even looking at 45, let me refresh your memory. That was basically our all-time high. Can I even see it on the 5-minute chart? I'm not even sure if it's gonna let me go that far. Damn you, TradingView. Yeah, this is unbelievable. Okay, this is unbelievable. I have a premium account and with an expert level, and they want Ultimate just to give me a couple more candlesticks. They are horrible people. Come on, TradingView. Come on. Now come on. I mean, come on. Don't really have to be rude. Blah, blah, blah. Let's find why we have that $45. Hopefully we can track it down right here on the 30 minutes. Come on. I mean, I'm just kind of being lazy and an ass, I guess. But we all know that's here we go. Oh, wonderful. You see, just almost out of the range. So those of you who are attentive, here I'm gonna. Those of you, you know what? Those of you who are here, I'm gonna reveal to you a little secret. You see. First of all, you can see my highs matching perfectly with the wick, right? Not the week, the wick, right? Like a candle has a wick. So it matches perfectly with that all-time high, right? Which we know is very important. That's how we perceive the all-time high. It is what it is because the price action, I wish I would have been able to show it on a smaller time frame, which was my original intention. We know that we had the smaller time frames will show us basically that we had full price action in these vicinities, just to keep it straight. And the reason why we choose to work with candlesticks, those of you who don't know, right, I actually want you to see this because a lot of people insist on working with line chart, and I want you to see one of the reasons to why we find candlesticks to be superior, right? And I wish I would have been able to show you. And there is a discrepancy, and sadly, the discrepancy differs. And the larger we go, the larger the time frame, basically, the larger the discrepancy will be. And that actually matters. Remember, if you're measuring something and you use that information then to look forward, right, and extrapolate some other ideas out of it, it's basically the same idea that if you build a pyramid and you're going to be off by even a fraction of a millimeter at the base, you're going to end up at the peak not with a pyramid but rather with a spiral. Your limbs will never converge, right? You will have a discrepancy, you'll have a deviation, and that means you will never have proper convergence, right? And that's kind of important when you measure things. When you look at technicals, the ability to measure things accurately, see beginnings to end, and recognize, partition things, if you will, right? That is crucial knowledge. I promise you that. You can ask my students. It is very important. And why we're talking about it so much in depth and what is it I'm trying to show off here. You see how perfect this is? But you see, when you use a line chart, you're going to have a problem. Because you see that high, that 45, will be a made-up number for all you care, unless you're aware that you should be following, and for all you care, and you're going to say, well, it's not a big discrepancy here, 44, 46. Again, ask my students, they can confirm this tiny discrepancy, right? That half of a dollar can mean a lot in the longer range. And again, I'm maybe kind of using a smaller time frame. That's why the discrepancy is going to be a little bit more, well, smaller, right? So it's not going to work perfectly as I would have wished it would. But it's kind of important, right? So just for you to know that our all-time high wasn't whatever you think it is if you're using a line chart. It actually was 45, right? Which, by the way, wink, wink, is a strong psychological level. Okay, why? Because it's exactly that perfect point in between 40 and 50, which both of them are psychological levels as well. Those of you who stayed around for all this long definitely can benefit this little bit of premium, and you guys deserve that. All right, Leo, you should. yeah, but you know, Leo, you know that it is what it is. So let's look at this again. So we said we haven't really made it to the next resistance, that 45, and we started losing momentum, so it wasn't all that surprising. And remember, here it's going to look very just like a pile of junk, right? Like, what is this? What is this? How am I supposed to read into this? Right, because it's 1 minute. But remember this, keep that in mind when you look at the larger time frames, and it will suddenly make sense. We will recognize that the momentum was saying, guys, I'm already running on fumes, at least for the temporary period of time. No one says here that we cannot retrace back up. And again, the students here know we can retrace, retest, confirm, and go to 45. This is not out of the realm of possibility, right? But it's not going to be straightforward, at least if the momentum shows that that's not the case. What does that mean, momentum? That means, again, we've reached such a high that even the market itself, which is us, right? All of us, through our actions, show our hesitation. Once hesitation comes through, guess what? Other people see it, bots recognize it, and the volume inherently steeps off, right? We're going to have a flattening of the curve, which was prior to steeper, right? So I kind of understand the logic of how it connects to one another. So for now, temporarily so, again, let's skip the 1 minute because we know it's bullshit. Temporarily so, right? It's a temporary correction. Does that mean, just the same way we said earlier, this is more bullish than bearish? Let's be objective about this, right? This trend is more, look at it this way, right? You kind of, at times, the discrepancy is going to be small, but be objective that it actually has meaning. Remember, abnormalities can exist, but the trend is clear. Remember these things, right? This tool actually sort of hints at the other things. It just doesn't tell you these things right away. Okay? There is some legwork to be had here, to be done. You need to do some legwork and actually measure some things and be attentive. Otherwise, it's all gonna go over your head, right? But it's there. It's not like it's not there. It's not like we don't understand that these forces are already there and in place. So right now, objectively, you can see 1 minute is -2 downtrends, and that of course plays a role. The shorter time trend on the 5 minutes is a downtrend, right? Because both of these forces, unsurprisingly so, I mean, you understand what's going on here, right? Just from the same logic that we just explained a minute ago. So that's not all that surprising that it sort of hints at what we saw there. And right now, more so, we can see we're in the lower lane, right, of our linear regression. Yes, that's the name of the tool. Those who wonder, that's the tool, linear regression. It's actually a tool we all were taught as we were kids to find an average, find the standard deviation, find the exceptions, put the points on the standard, and find through that a channel. And the standard deviation is going to be identical. Unless you're making a very advanced chart, but then it's gonna be the same shit from a different angle. Trust me, bro. So it's quite obvious that right now we're already moving within the framework of the downward trend. And we said, yeah, we could correct up, but we could also correct up just to test the bottom, just to continue. And we know what happens when we open up these ranges. All it does, it gives us a further larger range to crash downwards, right? So it gives us what, like that 41 range-ish, just based upon the current channel, which, surprise, surprise, I mean, you have to be blind. Just let's put this. What is that? You see what's going on? The market loves to do this. So this can actually, the fact of the matter that what was ceiling now will be floor potentially is still a bullish move, which could be implying that the idea that's going to happen here is this, right? This, test, this. You see, so it still is bullish. You have to be objective about these things. But then again, while the market is while Palantir is bullish, if the market decides that it's time, right, to go down, Palantir is like like trying to race a Fiat against a Formula, I don't know, Toyota Celica against for Formula One. Okay, if that makes any sense. More so on a track that is made for Formula One, if anything. Which, if anyone here knows anything, it's special traction and all sorts of crap, which will make normal cars basically super slow, which gives Formula One cars their grip and stuff. I'm not an expert in Formula One, not at all. I'm just rambling about stuff I know. So in fact, we haven't yet completed properly. We haven't even tested the bottom line yet here. So what we could see is the price action continuing to test the bottom of the channel just in order to test the median back again, just in order to test back the ceiling, just in order to break back down to the median, just to create a new low, bringing us to 41.93, or call it 42 if you really insist, right? Giving our SMA, just as SMA creeps up perfectly down from below, picks it up. It's just the junction of all forces, right? It's everything. It's not all that simple. SMA actually is anything but simple, but yeah. Want to know? Become a student. Sorry. It's a little bit more complex than just rambling about it for a couple of minutes. Greg, why you don't use support lines on Palantir 1 hour, 4 hours? It's long term. I do. What do you mean? I do use everything on 1 hour. What do you mean? I use long-term uptrends with bus stations on 37. I don't know why. I do. Why are you saying that? You haven't seen that far. I mean, I definitely have my bus station at 37. Although we both know it's, look, this one is gonna overpower. This range is gonna overpower 37. It doesn't matter. And in fact, I'm gonna be far more attentive to this. Right, and to this, and to this-ish, it's like somewhere around here, 37.50. So there's like a whole range. I mean, those who know understand that the fact of the matter that I don't have like every 10 cents and a half support lines and resistance lines based upon the structures, because it's just going to be, Murat, what am I going to benefit from it? I know that they are there. The chart needs to be readable by you guys. needs to be readable by the people who don't really know technical analysis, people who don't deal with the stuff on a daily basis, so they can follow with us. You see, Murat, you need to think about them as well. Oh, by the way, Discord just banned in Russia. Really? Really? Discord banned in Russia? Oh my god, I mean, it was a long time coming. Everything is getting banned in Russia. I'm not surprised. Plus, I mean, Murat, a lot of the underground media and all like the really good stuff was going on on Discord when it comes to Russia. So yeah, I mean, I'm not that surprised actually. That's a bit insane. I gotta admit that it took so long and I didn't hear about it as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm not that all that surprised actually. I mean, are you, Murat? Are you surprised that it got banned? I'm not. All this extra bullish diving down, your triple Q average is a hidden blessing. Yeah, Danny, I'm at 2600. If you remember last time I said I was 24, and I plan to buy more next week. If everything is gonna be fine, I plan to buy more next week. I was hoping some of my funds will come through this week, but I guess it's already not going to happen given the fact that we're already evening Friday and it has to do with Israeli banks as well and stuff. So I probably am going to end up buying next week, but my plan is by the upcoming several weeks, I'm going to hit 3,000 shares. That is my plan. So, I mean, I really would have wished my last pickup was at 720 something, which we know the support is 714. So I wish I would have been able to buy right now. It's just that I don't overstep. I have this traditional behavior that I used to recommend, and that to the people who, under the context of being allowed to recommend sort of any pattern of behavior, that was what I would. And plus, that's my own personal approach, is to not overstep. And if you have particular liquidity that you have in plan for the stock market, do that. Don't overstep. That would be a big mistake, right? Whatever you allocate is whatever you allocate. Don't mess with your don't mess with the plan. Is what I'm trying to say. Don't mess with the plan. Okay. We were on Palantir. So I mean, before let's first focus on Palantir. So let's do that. Another thing that I was saying in here, it's actually very visible. We can see how clearly these trends come through, right? How the transitions oftentimes don't look all that straightforward, and you're going to have to do some legwork to recognize. And right here, I mean, I don't really have to say that we're at the utter bottom and we're scraping the bottom. This really amplifies the bearish momentum. Really, what it does, it doesn't really amplify the bearish momentum. It amplifies the loss of bullish momentum. If I really want to be accurate with you guys, right? And I really do want to. And you know what? I really appreciate those of you who stay around and watch the stuff here and stay for as long as we do these things and whatnot. So there's a bit of a bonus for you, right? So really what it symbolizes is how quickly we're losing altitude. Imagine if we really want to have a comparable here, if we're a plane and our engines just died and we started moving to the downside, right? Because we're basically losing our upwards momentum because the engines are no longer working. Gravity will inherently accelerate us to the downside, right? And that acceleration is really what we see here, right? So just to be really clear about how this tool works. And of course, when the bears recognize acceleration to the downside, sure as hell they ride it. Just the same way the bulls ride their waves, the bears ride their waves. It just goes hand in hand. And once they do catch, if the bears do catch it, this is when the momentum really picks up, right? So again, and I want you to also notice be very attentive to the channels here and what we're doing, right? So you see how oftentimes people fail to recognize what's going on because they don't really have that junction, the combination, sorry, of or nor do they have, well, basically the shorter time frame, the shorter range linear regression tool overlaid over top of the longer linear regression tool, longer range, if you will, right? That allows you to superimpose them over each other this way that you can really see what it is that the market is actually doing, right? So that is quite important. Why it's so important to use different ranges at time on a particular or on the same chart. That way it gives you the ability to clearly see what's going on here and not be too confused about it. And you're going to say, well, we broke below the support. That's normal. That's how the market moves, boys and girls. That's how the market moves. Remember, the same way we went into this channel, that means we broke some other channel, right? But the momentum is the one that indicates to us and really allows us to see how it is that we're moving based upon our structure. So based upon this, as much as we would like to say, yes, it's on the bottom means it's going to flip around, not straightforward. The same way these things work. I mean, look, this was a long time coming. This is a transitional period. I doubt it's just going to happen tomorrow, do this thing. Like that's not how it works. And again, let's judge based upon the larger time frames that will give us a clear indication. Is that fair? So let's do this. I mean, that's oversold and pretty clearly accelerating to the downside out of the channel, right? All the bearish indications, right? All the red lamps, if you will, all the warning signs that could be blinking are blinking. And remember, even if we're going to end up testing a certain support here, wink, wink, right, that we spoke about before, you see how when we adjust to the time frames, guess what? These things adjust as well. And suddenly they're lower and lower and lower. Right, because the average considers far of a wider movement. It makes sense. It's just math, guys. It's very basic math. It's stuff we all learned in like primary school, like maybe third grade, maybe. You know, maybe fourth, whatever, right? But it doesn't matter. You get these principles. They're all very, very simple. If you really sort of use the same basic principles that you're familiar with and compare them to your basic understanding of charting, the stuff that you learn in, 4th, 5th grade, doesn't matter. All that geometry, math, it's all that same stuff. It's all so basic. Right? Remember like how unlikely we are to break to the lower channel if we're actually actively moving within the upper range. But guess what? We're in the lower range. So why the hell should we suspect that we're going to be suddenly moving directly teleporting to the upper one unless we're having a tremendous amount of bullish momentum? Now, again, I would like to agree with you, but objectively, all the time frames that we really care about are not doing good. I mean, I don't think I really have to repeat what I've just said, right? And remember, if you are seeing all of these being bearish or losing their momentum, yes, the daily is slightly behind because it's just that slow. So it's going to take a little while all the stuff that comes through that already is moving, right? We see the movement is coming through. So guess what? When it does, and which is, by the way, again, logical, which if you're seeing the shorter time frame range that's going on, we're just testing remember how we said, this is normal. We still can see something akin to this. But the overall result of this is not going to be pleasant because this is indicative of a movement down on a larger time frame. And if it will be, that means this becomes as temporary as we get. Sure, we're going to get the market become permissive, maybe 45 if you're lucky. And I spoke about these in the original Palantir videos, but I also said, based upon the structure of the S&P, the Nasdaq, the indices basically, even the Russell, we expected that correction to come in earlier, breaking Palantir far earlier, not allowing to have the whole limb. So yeah, you could say I was wrong. I don't mind. I don't mind not buying here. Yes, I should have, especially me, because I ride the swings. I should have seen it. We have many gaps that indicate that we're going to close them. All, 30 in the 30s and even lower. Plenty of supports and resistances, right? And those are not even all of them, as I've told Murat earlier, right? This is just a partial kind of stronger ones that really matter. The fact that we're going to test some support and resistance doesn't mean they're not going to be strong enough to actually hold the price action. So I rather not to junkify, the chart too much, so you guys can actually still see some stuff. Well, some stuff. The stuff that's most important, really. So the grand scheme of things, the big picture here, the problematic picture is very similar, as you can tell. And by the way, this is predicting. You see how the weekly, right? The weekly on Palantir looks identical almost to the monthly on the S&P. I would be scared. Like, look at this. This is your monthly S&P, and this is your weekly Palantir. If you're not scared shitless, I don't know what to tell you. What does that mean? You have to liquidate? No. If you don't know technical analysis, no. Unless, of course, you're completely confident and you're willing to take the loss if Greg is wrong. And who cares about what Greg says? Because this is not financial advice. And I'm not your account manager. You see what's going on here? So what you need to do, really, is focus on your average if you don't know what you're doing. But if you know what you're doing, maybe potentially you should consider executing a part of your portfolio. Who says you need to sell everything? Especially if you're sitting on good gains right now. I mean, come on. Just be logical about this. Right? That's what we have with Palantir. So it's not looking good. And we know what it stems all from. Right? It all stems from the market being so overpowered recently, which I would be suspicious of. I personally, when I see the market explode in this way, I simply become suspicious. Because that means if there is that much buying, somebody's selling. There is that much selling. Who's selling that much, that rapidly? Right? And in fact, there's more buying than selling. They're abusing the retail FOMO into unloading stupendous amounts into picking up from these same people on the bottom when they will be crying around and running around like headless chickens and tearing the hairs off their head. They're the same people. This is brilliant. It's the same trick over and over and over and over again. Yeah, that's just ugly. No matter how you flip, this is ugly. I mean, come on, even a blind person in Braille can see this. So, yeah. And remember your weekly and monthly, which are just screaming, apocalypse, basically. Is it going to happen it's not going to happen tomorrow, obviously. It's going to happen today, next week. I don't know. Am I trying to time the market? No. I just know it will happen. So I I assure you that the people who maybe were able to see that the Titanic is moving towards the iceberg were not waiting too long for the Titanic to actually hit the iceberg. I bet you they were already sitting in the rescue boats with a life vest on their on their neck. So if you think about it, if you see something coming, right? If you're seeing the car rushing towards a wall, aren't you, at least if you have the opportunity, gonna make sure you buckle your seatbelt, right? Wouldn't you do that? I mean, think about it. All right. Oh, by the way, we were there. So we've covered Palantir, but we'll cover Tesla as we go. Ori, I hope that sort of gave you at least some idea of what's going on. I tremendously appreciate the super chat, but you shouldn't have. We would have covered that anyways. So, I mean, I tremendously appreciate it, and I think you knew that anyways, but thank you. Really does support the channel, especially because I'm not monetized, because YouTube doesn't like me, I guess, or something. Too Jewish for YouTube. Thank you for that. I'm waiting patiently to buy the lowest depth. Okay, I'm gonna be buying. And I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be loading up. In fact, I might do something that I highly don't recommend, which is basically buying at what you would consider like a low point, which I'm probably not going to. I always do DCA into things, and I will end up buying in big chunks. Like, that's what is going on. I'm 1000% certain that's going to be the case with me. All right. Where was I? Where was I? Uh, thank you for waiting patiently. Slime. Hey, yo, Slime, what's up? Slime. We went straight. We went straight forward. What, Mike? What are we talking about? What? I don't know. You're being cryptic like that. I don't know what you talk about. I'm confused. You confuse me. I'm Confucius. What is a shout out to all the fellas with no what? Calvis? Yeah, yes. No. I mean, I think I'm suspect. I know what you're saying there. I think I know. I think I know. If I'm right, shout out legend saying it this way. Where was I? Murat, we're at Discord. Greg, why you don't use support lines on Palantir Hour? We've gone through that. I'm not too uh, term uptrend with bus stations on 37. Yeah. Murad, join us sometimes on the Discord so we can actually talk about so I can understand. Look, 37 is there, but they're far. I mean, 37 is not strong in particular compared to the other locations that are near about. So why would I have something that is not all that strong, especially 37 being round, and the other numbers I know it's there, so it's not all that difficult. I think it's a waste marking it. Do you have any personal? Yeah, of course, Danny. Of course, I do. Well, Israel is very expensive. I really want to buy a very big house, what would be considered a very big house in a very lucrative area, and I have a ton of cool projects I plan on doing. And I'm not much of a car guy, not much of a lot of things, not much of a sports guy. I'm not gonna, my goals are a lot more research and discovery oriented. But of course, I do want to get a very expensive house here in Israel, which is stupendously expensive, and that's part of my financial goals. And I don't want to do it with with the help of the bank. That's just kind of a bit of a crazy thing I do. And yeah, so that's the thing I'm planning to do. I'm not into down payment and then being well, paying 1.5 times for that. So yeah, it's a bit convoluted, but that's just like short term, but more something more tangible you would understand, I guess. But there's a lot more than that. This is something I name, just to keep it simple. But really, I have plans that will require stupendous amounts of money. I have an interest in archaeology, if you will, and things of that nature, and all sorts of sciences. So, and I recognize how large and expensive the projects I would like to embark on, and they will be. I mean, it's just something that requires a lot of money, a lot. That's. I mean, I hope that answered your question, Danny. But yeah, I'm a my plan. I don't often talk about my dreams and such and whatnot and plans, but they're just that big and insane, I guess. Markets are open Monday. No, I think markets are closed Monday. I think banks are closed. Right. You sure on that one, Mac? Are you certain? Are you? Government banks are closed. Markets open. I see. Fourth grade was really hard. Leo, I know fourth grade was really hard for me as well. I promise. I swear. Fourth grade, I was busy with anything but studying. So yeah, I get it. I get it. Trust me. Luckily for me, I had awesome parents who realized I'm a dumbass and forced me to actually learn from time to time. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, really, jokes aside, primary school wasn't necessarily easy for. I was a very creative kid back then, and far more preoccupied with the wrong things. And girls, of course, girls. That was always important. I brought my kid with me. She's as well listening to Greg, of course, not understanding what is he saying. That's scary, Christoph. I do tend to throw the occasional, not good words. So learning by listening is how kids. Absolutely, absolutely. I learned my English. My English started. I learned my English from watching television on English and playing games on English. And so, I mean, originally my first language is Russian, right? So Hebrew I learned from listening and being around it. In fact, I learned Hebrew within a year. So, I mean, when I got here, I was within a week after we arrived here. I had my fourth birthday, and so by the time I was 5, I was speaking fluently, like completely fluently. People, in fact, I sort of got lost one time, and when I finally came back home, my parents were there with a lot of police officers and whatnot, and they obviously understood my parents are Russian, barely speak any Hebrew. And then I showed up and started speaking Hebrew, and the cops looked at my parents like, "Are you sure that very well speaking Hebrew kid is yours? Because, like, you're Russians, and he doesn't seem to be one." And I was like really, really brown, very tan, just like a Moroccan kid, and fluent Hebrew. So they were like, "Are you sure he's yours?" So that was pretty funny. Uh, um, regardless, look, Danny, okay, guys, Mac. It doesn't mean. Wait. I mean, we're probably gonna have a very tame day on Monday, regardless. Markets tend to be tame. I believe that's gonna be a rather tame day, one way or another. So even though that's a bit of a phenomenal day, if you really look into this, it's gonna be just a dead day, just dead in the water. So yeah. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, usually it's the second language taught in German schools until they can choose a third later. That's a good job. Yeah, yeah, Christoph. That's Germany's educational system is definitely doing very, very well. If it's similar to Israel, if the kid wants to, he can get to great heights, right, or great knowledge. But it really depends on them. As far as I know, that's where our educational systems are very similar. Trim some profits to give yourself some dry powder. Yeah, Leo, exactly. Especially if you don't have like a consistent income or something, that definitely could be a good idea. But still, Leo, we both know how important it is to really be able to read the charts to understand, because you're gonna might end up waiting for too long or something like that. It's look the same way you would not give your kids the car keys, right? If you don't know how if you know they don't know how to drive, that's the same logic. Why would you sit behind the wheel of your portfolio not knowing how to drive it, right? It's just sort of the same logic. That's why I teach technical analysis, and I can tell you there's a reason why the structure of my community is, because even when you finish the course, it doesn't mean you're automatically a professional, right? It's like saying, I went through a diving school a couple of times, through like, a couple of courses, but does that mean I'm a professional diver? Hell no. Not yet. That's not how things work. There's a reason why we, the professionals, spend years on end making all the mistakes several times over, and only the good ones survive, right? So there's that. Absolutely, absolutely, Leo. Very, very, very good remark there. I tremendously stand behind it. How you say it? I approve this message, right? Um, CRK. What? Judy, are you having an aneurysm, or is that a ticker? Well, that's awesome. I wish I had learned two languages earlier. I see. My dad spoke French. My grandmother knew German so well. She was a German teacher. In fact, there was like this running joke how she was back in Germany. She was at the fabric store and she wanted to buy some fabric, and she asked the clerk to show some fabric, and she came up and whispered in her ear, like, and there were some other Russians in the store, which were so we are Russians in essence, like Russian speaking. So we were perceived still like that's basically Caucasian or not, it doesn't matter. It's still Russian, basically. So, and he walked up to her and said quietly, wait for the Russians to leave the store and I'll give you the quality fabric, right? And she was astounded. Not he's not realizing that she's basically also Russian. That's how good her German was, and he was a local German person. And the German people here can vouch, know that they can tell where exactly you're from Germany just simply by how your accent sounds like, and certain little things and how you behave and how you speak and whatnot. So he thought she was from there. That's how good she knew German, and sadly I didn't learn. Yeah, that goes to show that it's a good idea to learn as much as we can the younger we are. And by the way, I will say it's never too late. I've seen people conquer great heights at all ages. It doesn't matter. It's really about how much you want to and the approach. Awesome. My dad spoke French, we said, didn't teach us. So sad. Yeah, I understand. I can relate with the feeling. I should have asked. I didn't ask really, and I think my grandmother didn't really want to propagate German in a Hebrew family in Israel, Jewish family in Israel. It's probably something that she maybe, as somebody who survived the Holocaust, for her it was probably weird. Can I ask you a question in Discord, Investor Afterlife? Yes, of course. Of course. Are you kidding me? You know you can. You can write it already once I'm done, or you can just meet up and you can ask it in voice. Already just got 500 more triple Q. Damn, K. Yeah, you're making big strides right there. Yeah. I wish I didn't have so many obligations and so many things to pay for. I would have been buying 500 every batch as well. Would have been at my target long time ago. Uh, yeah. Oh my God, Christoph. Yeah, that's yeah. By the way, how my parents taught me not to how not to curse. Every time they heard me, they didn't just go flip. They just didn't go crazy and flip out or something. They're like, "Do you know what you just said?" And often I would say no. I mean, or at least try to pretend I do, right? Because I was a kid. And then they would say, "No, you're wrong. That's not what it means." Then they would explain what it means, and then they would re-ask. They would say, "Is that person what you just said?" And then I go like, no, like kind of like being put on the spot, if you will. And very quickly I learned not to curse, and more so, my parents taught me that ladies don't like men who curse, and unless you really, really have to. So that really kind of made an impact as well. Or you can say to a girl that gentlemen don't like, the high value men don't like women who curse, and that's true. I mean, some sure, can and does on the daily basis. It's a very different thing. This is, by the way, why oftentimes men don't find a lot of Russian women to be all that attractive, because some of them behave in a very vulgar way. Not always obvious, but there are plenty of women who look amazing, and when she opens the mouth, you're like, oh my God. No problem, Julia. We'll look into the tickers soon. We're going to look at Tesla for a little bit before we do the tickers. But usually, if you want to write that there are two different tickers, you write a slash in between them. That's how we, or at least write that they are two tickers. Otherwise, I would think you're having an aneurysm. I got you, Julia. I got you. With nowadays, with everything being an acronym and everything, and I'm sorry on you might be having an aneurysm. I'm sorry, I don't know, or just the cat walked over the keyboard or something. So I don't know. You have to say that to be a little bit clearer about these things. Unless I remember the ticker, and sadly there's a limit to. I just can't remember all the tickers. I mean, come on, I'm human, and we even tend to forget some of them. There's no reason to retain the information as long as you know the name of the company. Just sort of some things are automatic. It is cool to be bilingual. I agree. I agree. My grandmother said shit. The other day she learned it. Wait, granddaughter, grandma, learned it from her parents, not me. No, that's gonna happen. I mean, nannies, that's gonna happen anyways, right? Um, Plus, it's not. I mean, let's be frank. It's not as much of a curse word as much as it is what it is, right? It's like, for example, there's like something that really drives me nuts, like completely bananas, that Americans get offended by the word ignorant, right? Which is just a description of a state in which you don't know something. I openly tell everybody that I'm ignorant in this or that. It is what it is. What it is. It's not a bad word. So I don't know if shit is such a bad word, but it is. It's a word. It's a word. Describes poo poo. It is what it is. Greg, your thoughts about Tesla Q3? Same thing as the rest of the market. Tesla Q3 cannot outplay the market. If the market's going to be going down, which we think it will. So, yes, we have seen some discrepancies with results of our expectations being far too excessive. So, yeah, Q3 I think is going to be weaker. It doesn't mean it's going to be bad, it's just going to be weaker. Right, yes, we will. 3, let's go. Back in 43. Yes, slime. Yes. What? Never mind. What? Bounce off. I see what you were saying there. I see what you're saying there. All right. Yeah, of course. It's not gonna stay. VRTX. Okay, so we have many tickers. Hold on. Okay, stop this. We need to look at Tesla. We still need to look at Tesla. Yeah, well, we were about to do that right now. So we need to look at Tesla. We still have Judy's tickers and VRTX. Right? All right. Try not to bombard the chat while I do this. That way I will not miss anything. Okay, so we said Tesla. We want to go over Tesla. Tesla didn't change much. We kind of spoke about Tesla the other day. Again, now, look, when we were still here, you could argue that maybe Greg is wrong, right? Maybe Greg is still wrong. But are you still thinking Greg is wrong? I mean, look, it's very clear that we had a gap that we had to fill in. Thus, we moved up, we filled in the gap. We tested the supports and the near support resistances, we started correcting to the downside. Can we retest these levels? Sure, yeah, we can. The market, in fact, if we really want to be objective about Tesla individually, and Tesla in general, we said this before, generally is bullish, right? We have a lot more bullish momentum in the system, no matter how you look at it, right? But, if we squeeze out that momentum and the market starts to correct downwards, again, this is not a life raft. I'm sorry. It's gonna fall in line with the rest. And the problem is with this chart, as the further out we're gonna go, as we said, it's gonna look identical to what? To the S&P. Right? And here you have a discrepancy. So we're saying here, this is the same phenomena that we see. We say you're basically moving in an uptrend, right? You're having an uptrend. Wonderful. But what are you going to do when your uptrend here ends, right? You're starting to break, which indicates the same thing you're seeing on the S&P. And here you're already in oversold territory, which means you're going to get amplified soon. So well, I mean, in fact, it's surprising how long we were able to prolong this process. It's easy to think you're bullish because we were so low that you think we're bullish. No, we're not. We're just locked in a range. That's a normal behavior of the market. We said this. The break from this is going to be below the resistance that we've been testing all along. It's inescapable at this point. Yeah, I should know data, of course. So, and more so, as bullish as it's pretending to be, and that's what I'm saying, it's pretending to be bullish. And that's the big problem here. Because all it takes is a bad earnings, which we're going to have by the end of the month. I think we're looking at 23rd of the month. We're going to have the earnings call. And I'm sorry, I think Tesla will shit the bed. And it's not because I don't like Tesla. I love Tesla. I admire Elon Musk in a lot of ways. Elon Musk. Yes, Elon Musk. So the dude is brilliant. He obviously has a mindset of a true Sigma. The dude is a true Sigma, first of all. That's something I admire in a man. He's a true gentleman. He's very wise. He's. Um, mm, he has a certain sort of set of traits and a moral compass that is very rare. Very rare to have as a combination in a single human being, and have that person be very, sort of wise, intellectual, and not evil at the same time. I'm sorry, that's just what life is. Most people that are as wise as he is end up being some evil people because they're just that wise and they get fed up with how dumb humanity is. I'm sorry, that's real. You don't like it, get a helmet. We still have a gap to close here. The market sees it. If you see it, the market sees it. If the market sees it, it needs to be filled, right? That's a simple thing. So, you be the judge of what you want. This, by the way, something I've deleted just the other day. We still were just showing off how this is gonna work, and we said how we have more bullish momentum. But once it's done, it's done. We're running on fumes. We're running on fumes. We really are running on fumes. It doesn't matter whether you're going to be able to squeeze it just a little bit more out. It's going to result really badly. And we said it's going to be 200. Well, we have the 213. We have the regular culprits, the ones that we know. You see how the numbers are not accurate. Murat, the 37, right? I might as well say 100. I might as well say 90, because if we get to 100, are you sure as shit going to have slippage to 90? I bet my thingies, right? And maybe even 80 something. Depends on how bad things are going to get. If I'm right and we're truly going to go through a true recession right now, right? Or the true reaction of what the market should have done from the beginning and effed up because the Fed are a bunch of assholes, apparently. I actually expected a lot more from JP, a lot more. And you know why I say a bunch? Because nobody spoke out. And I know they're all in on it. Come on. JP should have been JP is a Republican. JP should have been he's a conservative. Like, I don't know what went wrong. I don't know. I cannot explain this. You see, this is where I can get some things wrong, and this is why we hate speculating and asking what we think that the politics are going to do to things. You know why? Because things like that can happen, and we can assess incorrectly. I'm sorry, it is what it is. So as you can see, we're basically moving below the line. As I told you, even if we're going to have another burst, it doesn't mean anything. The market is trying to move below the trend that we've been testing all along. Go back to 100 with the market and all that crap. That's Tesla for you. It's really sad that people... But you know what? Screw it. It's all healthy. It's healthy. When Tesla will go to its true highs, when Tesla will finally reach its true valuations, no one will have anything to say. No one will be able to out-argue me, you, or anyone else. And no one will be able to say Tesla is a car company. I promise you that. Okay? So that's healthy. The thing that we're doing right now is actually healthy. Unpleasant. I get it. But it's healthy. I recognize that that's how things are going to be at 300. I recognize I'm going to miss a couple of waves because I am more traditional like that, and my liquidity does not allow me to go all over the place. It is what it is. Okay? Right. Now that we've done that, now let's switch here. Am I gonna be forced to use this one? Okay. Okay. Okay, I said. Thank you. Right. Let's just use this one. Why not? We said Judy really wanted VRTX. Oh, right. Oh my God. I'm a moron. Oh, that's not what I thought it is. Okay. I'm a moron. I'm a moron. Moron, moron. Moron, moron, moron. IR baboon. No, no, no. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. I hate looking at pharmaceuticals and biotech and all that realm. There's a reason. But since you asked, we need to. All right, Judy. You have a bit more. Since you're probably looking at this from an investment standpoint, it's gonna correct. You have more bullish momentum in the system. You're probably gonna potentially test the 500s, right? But you're gonna break, and when you're gonna break, it's gonna be ugly as all hell. Like how ugly? Like real ugly. Like 300 ugly. From I mean, pretty quickly, I can tell you it's gonna be like 300. Yeah. See, you're gonna technicals do not show anything good. Alrighty. Yeah, basically perfect. Yeah, call it 300. Just call it 300. Let's call it 300. So, yeah, you do have a little bit more bullish momentum in the system, but if you're looking at this from a standpoint of an investment, wait for it to drop to about the 300 area and start picking it up. You do you, not financial advice. That's what I would do if I would have been interested in this asset. Alrighty. Yeah. That's that. Now, you wanted also. Wait, that was Mac. That was Mac. Damn it. I'm yeah. Oh shit. Well, Mac, that's for you. Sorry, Mac. That it is what it is. You guys spammed the chat so quickly, I went all over the place and I missed what I was looking at. Judy wanted. Where is you, Judy? What was your request? Two tickers. Yes. Right. It's AEHR. AEHR. Here it is. Right. Mac, at least I hope I was able to answer your question. This is. This is. This is fun. Why do I feel like I've already given this a look-see before? Oh, 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 whoa, wow. What happened there? Ah, okay, well, that makes sense. I don't know the system, sorry. Wow, that really is above my regular tech knowledge, but okay, I get the idea. Sure, cool. Interesting. This is actually the opposite. This hasn't yet bottomed out, and it will go even lower. Obviously, it will go lower. But I mean, there's obviously a channel here, so there's obviously something going on here. Wonder. I wonder. I wonder. That's kind of there. Holy shit. Yeah. Magic, boys and girls. Magic. That's how you do magic. Don't try this at home. As the same channel gets readjusted. Wait, what just happened? Did I move it accident? No, I have not. Right. Right. Yep. So you still have it there. Just sorry, kind of moved. I was able to show you. Yeah. Yeah. So the trick here is this: you are gonna move. This is an uptrend. This is a clear uptrend. The question is, are you going to finish this up? Because it feels like you're going to finish this up based upon this structure. Because this is, look, if you're attentive to how the sort of this behaves, this is, again, this is hard to see, but there is a wave here, right? So this is a part of the same overall structure. But the problem is you're going to go down. You're going to go down with the rest of the market. It is basically inevitable. You're gonna go with the rest of the market. I think I should have enough data. Yeah, there you go. This is gonna go to very painful numbers. You have upside momentum, yes. How high? You're definitely gonna retest. I would argue where the gap is, right? These sort of, what is that, like 21-ish area, easily. You definitely gonna test this. That's too far. What is that? That's gonna be your 36. You're probably gonna test that up. Yeah, maybe all the way to 35 at some point. Like, that's how the momentum is structured to give you enough of that. But once the market breaks, it breaks, and you're gonna break with it. That's a sad reality. So we are actually lagging behind on the, like, with this is actually lagging behind. It should have been doing better, right? Just to get you give you an idea. So right, CRK, yes. Nah, very good, very good. This is sexy. Yes, very good. Uh, gorgeous. Gorgeous. What can I tell you? Energy. This is a good find, actually. This is actually a good find. Wonder, though. I wonder. Okay. There is. You have upside on this. You do. You definitely do. But you're gonna have to wait until energy oil breaks up and them in particular show better signs of recovery. Otherwise, this is going to be not too pleasant for you. Give me a sec. That would be... Yeah, but that puts it the same range. That gives you about 20s, 25s, 25s, 25s. Yeah. Okay, so your ceiling, if you're lucky, is 25. If you see, I mean, get back to me at 25 if you're able to wait it out. So that is your give or take range. It's not necessarily going to be straightforward. It's probably going to take a three impulses, basically, meaning up, down, up, down, up, down, up, for you to finish actually making it to 25. So there's a lot down, and it really depends on how well they will perform. So as well, if they're not going to have any hurdles in the way. Bam, 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 bam. All right, I think I've done that. Let's get back to stuff. Let's see. I think I'm going to adjourn this call because I think I'm getting hungry. I'm definitely in an urgent need of a bathroom break. So I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm gonna IR Baboon. And then he's, yeah, right, you know, I am Weasel, IR Baboon. Think you're a true legend. Why don't you like to look at pharmas? Pharmas can explode. It has to do with they go through a lot of scrutiny often. Depends at what stages. It's a problematic sector. It's just a problematic sector, and it either, you know, sort of, you can be stuck in the mud for years on end and just explode on one wonderful day when an announcement, what they're called, oh shit, forgot the healthcare thingy. Shit, come on, what's the acronym? I something. Forgot their acronym, sorry, being a moron right now. You see, I'm hungry. FDA, thank you. Some FDA approval or something. See, being moron. So they just end up, it's a problematic sector. It's a very problematic sector. You can sit on your ass for years on end. Technicals are screwy. Don't like that sector. It's a problematic sector. In fact, at times, you look at, there are companies that I looked at before that were perfectly positioned, had the necessary approvals, and everything was seemingly going well, and just even noise from the overall healthcare sector, which I don't want to sort of mention certain things that shouldn't be spoken about, wink wink, made entire stocks that actually entire companies who provided really good solutions and things that were necessary for us, and they made them break just because of the perception of the market and the sector-wide movement, which is a thing. So not a fan. Yeah, already we figured that one, Judy. I'm sorry. Ori, I think Palantir will end green today. That's a good question. I mean, look, if you consider green just surpassing the yesterday's close, which is 43.54, sure, yeah, I mean, could be. That's not out of the realm of possibility. If I would have to try and make my if I would had to have my feet held to the fire and kind of say what if I think it's going to close green or red, I think it's going to close red. Again, it's sort of shifty here, so, and was getting that close to the end of the day. So if those who don't know, the market closed for me at 11, so we're just about. But yeah, I do think that 5 minutes is not going to cooperate with you. And once it starts breaking soon, the SMA is on top, momentum is low, volume is low. I think we're gonna close red today. I think. All right, boys and girls, time for me to run. I'm starving. My brain is no longer working. You see what's going on? Is that really what you wanted to hear? Slime, SoFi next time. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I am I'm running on fumes here, and the quality of the analysis will decrease. uh, are you on this weekend or taking a break? I don't do lives on the weekend. Okay, I never do. I do that when the market is on. I do. I do very rarely. I do have. I mean, I do have just one student on Saturday. I kind of that's an exception. I gave her a bit of an exception, but it's a person I like, and it's a good hour for me, so it works and all that wonderful stuff. And but normally I do rest throughout Saturday. Throughout the day at least. I kind of do stuff in the evening, if anything. Yeah, and those who are interested in the one-on-one, I still have one spot. Reach out to me on Discord, and yeah, there's one spot. Don't miss it, because once it's locked, once it's filled, I'm gonna be locked for some time. I am kind of full right now, like very. So makes sense. Then four. All right, Mac. All right. Love the answer. Um. Is BMY. I see. No, sure thing. Love you all, boys and girls. Nanny's, you're a legend. Thank you for helping me. Without you, I wouldn't be able to deal with all the craziness. Christoph as well. All the moderators, legends that. Sorry, my voice is dying. Boys and girls, thank you for showing up for the live. It was fun. But it's time for us to adjourn this. And yes, Slime, next time, remind me to do SoFi for you. Although it didn't really, you know what? Just quickly, I'm gonna say that SoFi didn't. I mean, this is impressive, but I really think if you're objective about the technicals, you're gonna understand this was just a bit of a pump. And I'm sorry, nothing changed. You're still 8-4, or well, 8-6. You know what I mean? But it's when shit is gonna hit the fan, it's gonna be 8-4, right? Maybe even lower. But really, SoFi really hinges on its earnings, being the price being so low and the market being so reactive. I do think, Slime, are you still here? I hope you're seeing this, and I'm not just talking to myself. But yeah, SoFi. Look, yeah, you're here. We're good. So look, it's an impulse that was inevitably sort of pushed out, but I wouldn't get too excited about this. I am sorry to say, I think your overall trend here is far more bearish. You're not gonna you see the ones at some point, there is no visibility for you to actually get the data. But there are other tricks that I can apply that I really not gonna dive into right now. It's gonna take me a long time to explain, and no one here knows exactly what I'm doing. Plus, it'll not give you more confidence. It'll just look crazy. But my certainty here is that with SoFi, and especially we know it's still market related, is that it's gonna break. It might not break as badly as some people anticipate, but it's not gonna be doing well if the rest of the market goes under. Let me just say that. It's a generational stock. Look, it's the younger generation loves this, and if they will survive the upcoming 3 years, if they will survive the upcoming 3 years, and I'm serious, they are probably going to be one of the bigger boys within the range of the 10-year. I'm not even kidding. It has that potential. If Noto will stay around and will put his life soul, into the company, sure, yeah, that actually can happen, probably. All right, boys and girls, I need to go eat. Definitely a bathroom break, otherwise I'll explode and die from starvation. That's not something we all want. I love you all a lot for showing up and hanging out. Damn it, that was a 2-hour live. Oh my god, even I'm impressed. Boys and girls, that was a great blast hanging out with you. And don't forget, if you don't know technicals, Don't try to do things you don't know, right? Would you try to disarm a bomb if you're not a person who dealt with bombs? No, right? Same thing. Do what you know. There's a reason why Tom and I preach very similar things at the end of the day, right? If you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the certainty, maybe Greg is wrong and a complete fucking moron, right? DCA, boys and girls. DCA. Don't forget, it's a method, it works, and it's basically as bulletproof as they get. There's a reason why both Tom and I, although supposedly being from two sides of the industry, if you will, we still both agree on that one. Why? Because it works. You know? That's it. Boys and girls, have a wonderful evening and great long weekend. I will probably, I don't know if I'll do anything on Monday, but I probably won't if unless I'll have like an actual video about something. Actually, I've been so behind on videos that I've been planning to make, so I'm quite behind. There's plenty of videos I need to make. You have to forgive me, plenty of, life stuff, but I'll do my best. And of course, Tuesday, of course, we'll be back to normal, streaming, and hopefully I'll be doing 2 lives that day and instead of just 1, hopefully. All right, boys and girls, you all have a wonderful weekend, long weekend. See you. Bye bye. See you on the next one.